Welcome to Legal Briefs. Let's talk about SB 1968, aka Trex Housekeeping Bill. The question is, when do you need to enter into a written agreement with a prospective buyer? Effective January 1st, 2026, the Real Estate License Act requires a written agreement to be entered into before you show any residential real property to a prospective buyer. Failure to enter into a written agreement with a prospective buyer while engaging in real estate brokerage may lead to suspension or revocation of your license or other disciplinary action by the Texas Real Estate Commission. So what does this mean for you? If you are already in the habit of using written agreements when working with prospective buyers, you're ahead of the game. The use of a buyer's representation agreement, such as TXR 1501, has long been recommended as good business practice. But starting January 1st, 2026, you must enter into a written agreement before performing any act of real estate brokerage for prospective buyers of residential properties. This new requirement only applies to buyers of residential real property. So if you represent a tenant or a commercial buyer, this requirement does not apply. So what do you do if the buyer asks you to submit an offer on a residential property without a showing? In that instance, you're still required to enter into a written buyer's representation agreement before presenting an offer on behalf of the prospective buyer. Do you still need a written agreement if you're not acting as the buyer's agent? Yes, you do. Even if your role is limited to showing properties to a prospective buyer, the law requires that the written agreement clearly state that you are not representing the buyer and are not acting as their agent. The written agreement must not be exclusive, and it cannot state a termination date more than 14 days after it is signed. Texas Realtors will update its forms to reflect this new requirement and other recent changes to the Real Estate License Act. Updated forms will be available to members and approved form vendors before the changes go into effect on January 1st, 2026. If you have any further questions about this or any other topic,